Hey everybody, so because I'm more of a show than tell kind of guy, I thought it would be fitting for me to be able to actually show you some of the Adaptive Dagger Defense technique that I was talking about in an earlier video in action. So what I'm going to do is show you a clip from one of the tournaments that I have attended, and you're going to see the actual Adaptive Dagger technique put into play. Now, I'm going to show you the clip at regular speed, and then I'm going to slow it down to 25%, so that way you can actually break down and see the individual movements with your own eyes. And in addition, I'm going to show you a little something that I also employ as a technique that I haven't talked about before, and it's not really so much a technique as it is an application of physics in order to better improve the technique that I use.
Fine.
So did you see what I'm talking about? No? Maybe you missed it. So let's watch it one more time at full speed.
Fine.
So now we're going to watch that video at 1/4 speed. Pay particular attention to how my opponent tries to mirror me with his sword by fighting in a low guard, which, by the way, I highly discourage you from doing. If you are putting yourself out of your normal stance or fighting in a way that you are not normally used to, just to match your opponent because you're not sure what to do, I guarantee you that's a recipe for disaster. But aside from that, notice how my opponent with his sword in a low guard and how I match him with my dagger held in a low stance, covering that low line and therefore forcing him to go on the only path he has left, which is the high line. So in that particular exchange, my opponent presents his sword on a low guard, and then I take my dagger and I match him by locking out that low line, so he has no shortest path route to my body. In response, he follows, predictably, the high line attack, which I already know he has to go. So as such, I raise my dagger on that line, which is a much shorter path than he has to travel, and makes it for a very effective defense because I forced him down a pathway that I already knew he had to take. Lastly, I'd like to talk about an application of physics that I use in order to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of the techniques that I employ. So some of you may have already seen it in either of the slow motion or the regular speed videos, how my body drops down as my opponent is on his way in. What I am doing is making use of physics. As my dagger rises and my body drops, I am effectively shortening the amount of time it takes for me to put my body behind the safety of my dagger. If my dagger was the only thing moving, then it's going to take X amount of time before it finally gets to a point where my body is safe underneath it. But if my body is dropping at the same time that my dagger is rising, then I'm effectively making that time much shorter before my dagger is able to protect me. This has the effect of making it such that I don't have to take that retreat step, which I highly advocate under normal circumstances in order to buy you enough time to successfully defend yourself. But if you are dropping as your defense is rising, then you have already gained yourself that last fraction of a second of time that you needed in order to place yourself behind the safety of whether it's your dagger, your buckler, the open hand, what have you. If you're finding this information helpful, by all means, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, by all means, reach out to me on Facebook. You can leave your questions also in the comment section on YouTube. Otherwise, I hope you all are staying safe, training hard, and in the meantime, fight on.